My father set down his coffee cup and looked at me across the breakfast table. Sunday morning. Their house. The ritual we'd maintained since I moved back to the city 3 years ago. Your mother and I have been talking, he said. I looked up from my phone. We think it's time you started thinking seriously about your future. You're 32 now. Still renting. Still in the same position at work. Mom reached across the table and patted my hand. We're not criticizing, sweetheart. We just want to help you build something stable. I am stable. You're comfortable, Dad corrected. That's not the same thing. Comfortable keeps you where you are. Stability means growth. Investment. Planning. He slid a folder across the table. Inside were printouts. Articles about real estate markets. Mortgage calculators. A handwritten note with numbers I didn't immediately understand. We want to help you with a down payment, Mom said. For a condo. Something you can own. Build equity. I stared at the folder. That's incredibly generous. You're our daughter, Dad said. This is what parents do. We help you get established. How much are we talking about? $30,000. Enough for a solid down payment in a decent neighborhood. $30,000. I felt something in my chest loosen and tighten at the same time. Relief and something else. Something I couldn't quite name. We do have some thoughts about which areas would be best, Mom added. Nothing too far out. We'd want you close enough that we can help with maintenance, meet for dinner regularly, that sort of thing. And obviously a condo makes more sense than a house, Dad said. Less upkeep. More secure. Better for a single woman. We've actually been looking at listings, Mom continued, pulling out her phone. There's a beautiful unit in that development near the park. 2 bedrooms. Very safe. Close to good schools, which, thinking ahead. She trailed off meaningfully. I looked at the folder again. At the printouts. At their expectant faces. This is really generous, I said again. So you'll do it? Mom asked. I'll think about it. Her smile faltered slightly. What's there to think about? We're offering you $30,000. I know. I just need to process it. Figure out what makes sense for me. We've already figured out what makes sense, Dad said. That's why we're showing you these options. I felt that tightness in my chest increase. I appreciate that. I just want to make sure I'm making the right decision. The right decision is accepting help when it's offered, Dad said. Not unkindly. Matter of fact. Pride is expensive, Lena. I wasn't sure it was pride I was feeling. But I nodded. Took the folder. Drove home with it sitting on my passenger seat like a weight. I'd moved to the city 5 years ago for a job. Marketing coordinator at a mid-size firm. Good salary. Not great, but good. Enough to rent a 1-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood, save a little, live comfortably. My parents had helped with the move. First month's rent and security deposit. They'd framed it as an investment in my future. A gift with no strings. But there had been strings. Small ones. Nearly invisible. They'd expected weekly calls. Monthly visits. Input on major decisions. When I'd gotten promoted 2 years later, they'd been proud. But also concerned. You're working too much, Mom had said. You need balance. Time for a personal life. When I'd started dating someone, they'd been supportive. Then curious. Then invasive. Where does he work? What does his family do? Is he thinking long-term? When that relationship ended, they'd been sympathetic. And also knowing. We could tell he wasn't right for you. You're better off. Every milestone came with commentary. Every decision came with suggestions. And now, $30,000. With folders full of their research. Their preferences. Their vision of my life. I met my friend Zara for coffee that week. My parents want to give me $30,000 for a down payment. Holy shit. That's amazing. It comes with conditions. What kind of conditions? They've already picked out neighborhoods. Specific buildings. They have thoughts about what kind of place I should buy. Zara sipped her latte. I mean, if they're giving you $30,000, don't they kind of get to have thoughts? Do they? That's a lot of money, Lena. I know. So, what's the problem? I tried to articulate it. The feeling of the folder being slid across the table. The printouts and calculations and assumptions. The sense that they weren't offering me a gift. They were offering me a very expensive leash. It's just, I feel like if I take it, I'm agreeing to more than a down payment. I'm agreeing to let them have a say in where I live, how I live, what choices I make. Maybe that's what family does. They're invested in you, literally and figuratively. But what if I want to make different choices? Like what? I didn't have a good answer. I hadn't even looked at properties yet. I didn't know what I wanted. I just knew that I wanted to figure it out myself. I don't know, I said finally. Maybe nothing. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Girl, you're being offered $30,000. Don't overthink yourself out of a condo. She wasn't wrong. Objectively, this was an incredible opportunity. Financial help that most people would kill for. So why did it feel so heavy? That weekend, my parents took me to see the unit they'd mentioned. The one near the park. It was nice. Really nice. Updated kitchen. Good light. A small balcony overlooking trees. What do you think? Mom asked, already smiling like the decision was made. It's beautiful. It's perfect for you, she said. Close to us. Safe neighborhood. Good resale value. The realtor, a friend of my father's, walked us through the specs. HOA fees. Property taxes. Projected appreciation. With your parents' help, you'd have an excellent equity position right away, he said. Smart investment. Can I think about it? Everyone looked at me. Think about what? Dad asked. Just whether this is the right place. The right time. Lena, the market doesn't wait. If you hesitate, someone else will buy it. Then maybe it's not meant for me. Mom's expression shifted. Not angry. Disappointed. Sweetheart, we're trying to help you. Why are you making this difficult? I'm not trying to make it difficult. I just need time to consider everything. What's there to consider? We're handing you an opportunity most people your age would kill for. That phrase again. Most people your age. I know, I said. I'm grateful. Really. I just need some time. We left the condo in tension. The car ride home was quiet. At their house, Dad pulled me aside. Lena, I need you to understand something. Your mother and I work hard. We've saved carefully. This money isn't endless. If we're going to help you, we need to know you're serious. That you're not going to waste this opportunity because you're too indecisive to commit. I'm not indecisive. Then what's the problem? I looked at him. My father. The man who'd always provided. Always planned. Always known exactly what everyone should do. I want to make sure it's what I want. Not just what you want for me. His expression hardened slightly. What we want for you is security. Stability. A good foundation. If you can't see that, then maybe you're not ready for this kind of help. It felt like a threat. Subtle. Wrapped in concern. Maybe I'm not, I heard myself say. He looked surprised. You're seriously considering turning this down? I'm seriously considering figuring out what I actually want first. And what you want matters more than accepting help from your parents. That's not what I said. It's what you're implying. We stood there in his driveway, the space between us suddenly feeling much wider than a few feet. I need to go, I said. I drove home shaking slightly. Not from anger. From something closer to fear. The fear of disappointing them. The fear of being ungrateful. The fear of losing their approval. But also another fear. A quieter one. The fear of accepting help that would cost me more than money could measure. Over the next few weeks, my parents brought up the condo repeatedly. At Sunday breakfast. Have you thought more about the property? In a text, the unit near the park is still available. Won't last long. On a phone call, we don't want to pressure you, but we need to know if you're serious about this. Each mention came with a slight edge. A reminder that their generosity had an expiration date. That my hesitation was costing them something. I started avoiding Sunday breakfast. Claimed work projects. Deadlines. Anything to escape the expectant looks and pointed questions. Mom called me on a Tuesday evening. Lena, are you avoiding us? No. I've just been busy. Too busy for family? Work has been intense. It's always intense. That's not new. I didn't respond. Your father is hurt, she said. We offer you this incredible gift, and you can't even be bothered to show up for breakfast. Mom, that's not fair. What's not fair is treating your parents like they're an inconvenience. I don't think you're an inconvenience. Then why are you pulling away? Because every conversation becomes about the condo. Because I can't make a decision without disappointing you. Because your help feels like handcuffs. I'm not pulling away. I'm just trying to figure things out. Figure what out? We've done all the research. We've shown you options. We're offering you money. What else is there to figure out? Whether I want to live my life or the one you've planned for me. I just need some space, I said. Space, she repeated. From your family. Because we love you too much. That's not what I said. It's what you mean. She hung up. I sat in my apartment, surrounded by silence, and felt the weight of their disappointment pressing down like atmosphere. If you've ever received help from someone who later used it as permission to control your choices, you'll understand why I started feeling trapped. It wasn't about the money. It was about what the money represented. Access. Authority. The right to have opinions about my life. 2 months passed. I stopped going to Sunday breakfast entirely. Made excuses. Eventually stopped making excuses. My parents stopped calling as often. When they did call, the conversations were brief. Polite. Cold. Dad mentioned the money once more. We're putting that $30,000 into another investment. Since you're clearly not interested. I understand. Do you? Do you understand what you're giving up? A down payment. Our support. There it was. The thing we'd been dancing around. Their support was conditional. Always had been. I'd just never seen it clearly before. I'm not giving up your support, I said carefully. I'm just not accepting money that comes with strings I can't see. There are no strings. Dad, you literally just said I'm giving up your support if I don't take the money. Silence. That's not what I meant. What did you mean? He didn't answer. I started working with a financial advisor. Someone neutral. Someone who didn't have opinions about which neighborhoods were better or which properties had good schools nearby. We calculated what I could afford on my own. It wasn't as much as $30,000. But it was mine. I started looking at condos. Smaller ones. Farther out. Places my parents would probably consider less desirable. But places I could afford without help. Without conditions. Without the weight of expectations. I found a unit 6 months later. 1 bedroom. Older building. Not in a trendy neighborhood. But clean. Safe. Affordable. I put down my own down payment. $12,000 I'd saved over 3 years. I didn't tell my parents until after the offer was accepted. Mom called when she heard through my aunt. You bought a condo? I did. Without telling us? I'm telling you now. Where is it? I gave her the address. Silence. Then, that neighborhood? It's up and coming. It's far. 30 minutes from you. Why would you buy something so far away when we showed you perfectly good options nearby? Because I wanted to choose for myself. With whose money? Mine. You could have had $30,000 from us. You could have bought something twice as nice. I know. Then why didn't you? I took a breath. Because I couldn't afford the actual price. We just told you the price. $30,000. No, Mom. That was the down payment. The real price was letting you make my decisions. Letting you have input on every part of my life. Letting you use your generosity as leverage. She inhaled sharply. That is so unfair. Is it? We were trying to help you. You were trying to control me. Control you? By offering you money. By offering me money with strings attached. By getting upset when I wanted to make my own choices. By making me feel guilty for not accepting your version of my future. This is ridiculous. You're being paranoid. Maybe. But I'd rather be paranoid in a condo I chose than comfortable in one you picked for me. You're making a huge mistake. It's my mistake to make. She hung up. I moved into my condo 3 months later. My parents didn't offer to help. I didn't ask. I hired movers. Unpacked alone. Set up my furniture exactly how I wanted it. The place was small. The building was older. The neighborhood wasn't prestigious. But it was mine. No one had opinions about where I put the couch. No one suggested which walls should be painted which colors. No one showed up unannounced with furniture they'd decided I needed. I lived quietly. Alone. Independent. My relationship with my parents became cordial. Distant. We talked every few weeks. Surface-level conversations. Work. Weather. Nothing substantial. They never asked to visit my condo. I never invited them. The absence of their input felt like breathing after holding my breath for years. A year after I moved in, my father called. Lena, we need to talk. Okay. Your mother's been really hurt by your distance. I know. Is this about the condo thing? It's about a lot more than the condo. He sighed. We were trying to help you. I know you thought you were. Thought we were? We were offering you $30,000. With conditions. Expectations. Control over where I lived, how I lived, what choices I made. That's not true. Dad, you told me what neighborhoods to look in. What type of property to buy. You had specific buildings picked out. That's not help. That's direction. Because we know better. We have experience. We've made these decisions before. And I need to make them for myself. Even if you make worse decisions? Especially then. He was quiet. I needed to know I could stand on my own, I said. Even if it meant standing in a smaller space. Even if it meant disappointing you. You think we're disappointed? I know you are. He didn't deny it. We just wanted better for you, he said finally. Better by whose definition? By any definition. A nicer place. A better neighborhood. More security. I have security. I have a place I can afford on my own. That I chose myself. That no one can hold over me. We wouldn't have held it over you. You already were. Every time I hesitated, you reminded me how generous you were being. Every time I asked for time to think, you made me feel ungrateful. That wasn't our intention. I know. But it was the impact. More silence. I don't know how to fix this, he said quietly. You can't fix it. You can only accept it. Accept what? That I'm an adult. That I get to make my own choices. Even ones you disagree with. And that your support can't come with conditions I'm not allowed to question. So what, we're supposed to just stop caring? No. You're supposed to care without controlling. I don't know how to do that. Then maybe that's something you need to figure out. We ended the call with no resolution. No promises. Just acknowledgement that something had fundamentally changed. 2 years later, my parents finally visited my condo. Mom walked through slowly, taking in the space. The furniture I'd chosen. The art I'd hung. The life I'd built. It's nice, she said finally. Thank you. Smaller than I expected. It's enough for me. She nodded. Sat on my couch. Accepted the coffee I offered. We talked about small things. Work. Their recent vacation. A book she'd read. It wasn't warm. It wasn't easy. But it was honest. As they were leaving, Dad paused at the door. You were right, he said. I looked at him, surprised. About what? About needing to choose for yourself. I didn't understand it then. I'm not sure I fully understand it now. But I see that you're okay. More than okay. I am. We just wanted to help. I know. But we wanted to help on our terms. Not yours. I felt something loosen in my chest. Not forgiveness exactly. But acknowledgement. Thank you for saying that. He nodded. Hugged me briefly. Left. My relationship with my parents improved slowly. Incrementally. They stopped offering unsolicited advice. I stopped avoiding their calls. We found a new rhythm. One based on respect rather than expectation. They never offered me money again. I never asked for it. 3 years after buying my condo, I got a significant promotion. Director level. Substantial raise. I called my parents to tell them. That's wonderful, sweetheart, Mom said. We're so proud of you. Thank you. Are you thinking about upgrading? Getting a bigger place? I smiled. Maybe eventually. But I'm happy where I am for now. That's good. As long as you're happy. No suggestions. No opinions. Just acceptance. It felt like a gift. One without conditions. I think about the folder sometimes. The one they slid across the table with printouts and calculations, and their vision of my future. I think about the $30,000 I didn't take. The condo I didn't buy. The life I didn't live. And I think about the $12,000 I saved myself. The smaller condo I chose. The independence I built. People say you should never turn down help from family. That pride is expensive. That you'll regret it. Maybe some people do regret it. But I don't. Because I learned that help isn't help when it comes with invisible strings. When it requires you to surrender your autonomy. When acceptance means agreement. Real support respects boundaries. Real generosity doesn't require control. Real love lets you make your own mistakes. I chose the harder path, the smaller space, the longer timeline. But I also chose freedom, self-determination, the right to be wrong on my own terms. And that was worth more than any down payment. If stories like this feel familiar, you're not alone. There are more stories like mine here. About the help that isn't really help. About the moment you realize the cost is too high. About choosing to stand on your own, even when it would be easier not to. You don't owe anyone your autonomy. Not even the people who raised you. Especially not when their support comes with conditions that cost more than money.